Hi everyone, Kenya and I hope to inspire you today to dream a little bigger and to seize the opportunity that international expansion presents for your business. But I thought we'd start with a poll. We do love this new technology we're using. So if you could please do as you did before and scan the QR code or visit the link and answer the following question. So do you currently own or work for a company that sells products or services outside the Republic of Ireland? So I'll give you a few minutes to answer that, or a few seconds, I should say. Okay. Oh. Wow, okay, brilliant. So I'll give you 1 or 2 more seconds. That's really interesting. That's brilliant. That so many of you are already selling internationally. That's fantastic. So I wanted to start by saying, as Irish people, global is very much already in our DNA. Although we're just a small dot on the map of 5 million people, we have one of the biggest diasporas of any nation globally. It's actually thought there are over 80 million people around the world that have Irish roots, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. And no time is this more apparent than on the 17th of March every year on St. Patrick's Day, when the whole world literally lights up green. It still blows my mind to this day that such a small country can have such an impact on the world. And I had no idea before putting this talk together the impact that Ireland has had on Kenya's home country of Mexico. So she was telling me that during the American-Mexican War in the 1800s, 200 Irish immigrants who were fighting on the US side were horrified that Americans were killing fellow oppressed Catholics. And so they jumped ship to fight on the Mexican side. It is a bit of a sad story, though. Mexico did ultimately lose, and all of the Irish were executed for treason. But it's still a lovely tale of it's still a lovely tale of camaraderie between two underdog nations. And the Battalion de San Patricio, I hope I've said that right, is still celebrated to this day in Mexico. The Irish, we've always punched above our weight. We can see that very much today in our cultural achievements, like in sporting. And also more recently in cinema. We had the best year ever last year for Irish cinema, where we got to see Cillian Murphy stand up on a stage in Hollywood and tell the world, I'm a proud Irishman standing here today. It was an absolutely amazing moment. I loved it. I'd say I've watched the clip maybe 20 times at this stage. But what I possibly loved even more was the Irish response to Cillian's Oscar win. We were so proud of him as a country that we even went and made him into a postbox near his hometown in Cork, which is absolutely gas. I don't think it gets much more Irish than that. We see our globalness very much today in business as well, with homegrown brands like Guinness and Ryanair, now 2 of the biggest companies in their categories worldwide. They both operate in over 40 countries around the world, which is amazing. I think our globalness has lent itself really well to export in the past. And this has really only accelerated in recent years with the advancement of digital. It's never been easier to get your brand in front of a global audience. This does go both ways, though. While it's never been easier for Irish companies to sell internationally, we've also seen an influx of global competitors coming into the Irish market, and that only really seems to be ramping up. I think every retailer in the room would have felt the pinch of Temu during Q4 last year. They were literally everywhere. We did our own analysis of this, and we saw that 100% of our clients competed with Temu during Q4, which is mad when you think that we work with retailers across lots of different categories. Temu sell literally everything, so they were competing with every single one of you. And this, of course, was followed closely by Amazon and eBay. So if you are only still selling in the Irish market, you're at a massive disadvantage when you consider how small a market Ireland is and how competitive that market has become as well. And the market's even smaller when you consider that 75% of Irish online purchases go to companies abroad. This stat is a little bit old now, so it's about 10 years old. So I did some research and I found a Stripe report that showed this trend is actually only increasing, if anything. Their report showed that 83% of Irish consumers said they were open to the cross-border purchase of physical goods. So that's on the retail side. And 72% are open to buying digital services. So it really is no surprise this report also showed that 75% of Irish businesses are planning to expand into other countries in the next 2 years. It really is their only option for their next phase of growth. We've seen this trend with our own clients as well. About 30% of our Irish client ad spend is now being spent internationally. That's trending up about 20% year on year.
I love those videos because both of them really understood the importance of going global from the very, very beginning, but they kind of make it look very easy. So it will be really reckless of us coming here, sharing about the opportunity, without showing you what are the potential challenges or considerations that you might face. So if you're in e-commerce, I think the first thing to do is trying to see how are you going to move your product from one country to the other markets. So you need to think about your logistics. However, on the other hand, if you're a B2B or B2C, you might have a product or service that is not a physical one. So you could transfer that through the internet if you're selling, for instance, software. But you might need to think about the regulations on the law in each country and try to adapt your product to that. As Owen mentioned, localization is going to be a big part of this journey. It's about translating everything that is in your website, the content, the emails, but also deeply understanding the market that you are going in and the nuances, because they will be a little bit different. So, for that reason, and to give you the best chances of success, we have partnered with Google. We are the first and only digital marketing agency that's part of the International Growth Program. So what does that mean for your business? It means that you have exclusive access to some of the latest tools that they have developed. So let me give you just some practical examples here. This is the Market Finder tool. So maybe you are at the start of your international journey and you need to pick a market. With this tool, it will help you to size the opportunity and see how much demand we are seeing in Ireland in comparison with other markets. For instance, for this client, we can see that people in Ireland are searching for their product or service around 1 million times a month, whereas in the States, that's 15 times higher, and in Italy, that's 9 times higher. So right from the bat, we are seeing that there's more opportunity and more demand in other markets. But if we choose one of those, how competitive is going to be to go there? In here, you can see as well that if you're choosing to go to the States, you might be needing to be willing to pay a little bit more for that. You might need to pay higher CPCs because there is more competition in that market. Whereas if you go to Italy instead, you have good levels of demand and you might be paying a little bit less for those clicks. And I choose Italy out of curiosity, to be honest. After 8 years in Ireland, I choose to move to Italy. I moved there for love. Love for my husband, love for the Italian food, love for the Italian wine. And after a year living there, I also realized that I hate Italian bureaucracy. Oh my God, you cannot get things done like if you're there. So if you're opening a business in Italy, good luck and God bless you. But you don't need to move to Italy to know those kind of business insights. Google can also help us with that. We have this rank. It is an index of the ease of doing business abroad. Not surprisingly, Italy is ranking 58, Ireland is somewhere in the middle, and the States is a little bit higher in there. So let's assume that we need to pick a country. We want to be as far as the Italian bureaucracy as possible, so we're picking the States. Now, we need deeper information about that market in order to really understand it and understand as well the behaviors of their consumers. Google can help us with this type of reports. So I will as well give you some practical examples of how that look like. This is some snippets of that report, and it gives us a lot of information. It can be information that is very wide and broad, like economic insights, and with that, you can see what is the disposable income available for that market and compare it with other markets. It can also give you very niche insights about the creative. And this is very important because this is also localization. For instance, 1 in 5 people in America consider themselves Hispano or Latino. So you might need to adapt the creative add the demographic in there in order for your brand to resonate with that audience. So at this point of the presentation, we have spoken to you about the big opportunity that going global is, how we can help you, but how do you know you're actually ready? Don't you worry, we have prepared 5 signs to know that you're ready. So please grab your notebook and your pen. And if you didn't bring one, there are only 5, so we can come together, so okay? Number 1, you need a strong domestic performance. You cannot go out there and start building houses in different countries when your house is not in a good place. This is because we want to replicate success. You have a formula that already works. We want to localize it in different markets in order to expand your business. The second one is that maybe you're struggling already, seeing and trying to get that additional market share in Ireland. And this is because everything that we have chatted about, Ireland is a small and beautiful country, and it's getting smaller and smaller with the big players coming in. Also speaks of where are you at in the level of maturity in your company. Maybe you are growing really fast, you are bigger than you were a couple of years back, and that means that you are now competing with the top tier competitors in your industry. So it's getting harder and harder to get less and less of that market. The third sign, maybe you are starting to see already a glimpse of internationalization in there. This is happening very organically. You are getting your first international clients, or a small proportion of your e-commerce sales are coming from other markets. In both cases, it is telling us that you are able to provide that service or that product abroad, already one step ahead of those big logistic challenges. And it is time to start thinking more strategically on how we are scaling that. Number 4, we need to remember that we are going to a new market. So we need a unique value proposition. You need to have something that will make you stand out from the local competitors that are going to be there. And this could be many things. It could be price. You are the cheapest option available. It could be quality. You're the best quality. You have a know-how that is not still there in that market, or your product is 100% Irish, and that's your differentiator. Last but not least, this is a long-term commitment, so you will need time and also budget, additional resources to allocate to this project. You might need to allocate time to someone in-house in order to help you out leading the project, or partner with an agency like ours in order to help out. Once you have a solid strategy, you will need more digital marketing budget in order to add in your campaigns and go abroad. So if you have ticked 3 or more of these in your checklist, please talk to us. Beth and I will be here all day. We can have a quick chat. We can start thinking of the next interaction and book an international maturity assessment in the coming days. It's going to be more than 5 questions this time, but it will really help us to understand what is needed in order to conquer the world together. Thank you, guys.